if it's feeling chaotic, if it's feeling like you're about to break, if you're feeling pushed all the way to the edges of what you think you can withstand, usually you are on the right path. And usually you're right around the corner from your next version of you, the next version of growth. And I say this all the time, and I mean it, is if it were easy, everyone would do it. Hey guys, welcome to the Expansion Podcast with Dr. Abby. Today I want to dig right into a few different things as I'm expanding and things that I'm going through that I hope help you. So the first thing is, it's been a hot second since I went out and did any marketing. So my practice I started 7 years ago, and it has been or grown to the point where we are pretty much internal marketing. We are referral based. We have a lot of we know a lot of providers in the community. We have a ton of amazing members that do such a great job sharing how chiropractic has impacted their lives and referring friends over. But for about like a year and a half, it had been on my heart. One of my good friends is the chief of the police department here in town. And it had been on my heart, like him and I were talking about just stress and helping these guys and gals, these men and women, just people, and helping them with how to manage the stress and how to prevent burnout, fatigue, like the same that we talk to all of our adults about, right? So anyways, I signed myself up to connect with all the new officers. Unbeknownst to me is that they do their post and pre-shift huddles, or whatever they call them, debriefings, at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. every single day. So Chief's assistant texts me and she's like, okay, cool. We're going to have you talk and connect with all the new officers. We're super excited. It'll be 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. both of these days. So I am driving in at 5:30. This is my time. Like, morning time is my lift. Morning time is my time to self-reflect. Morning time is all these things. And I had all these things in my life going on. These limiting beliefs just started to flood in. All of this stuff of like, why am I doing this? This isn't even like, we see pregnancy in children. Are we even making a big impact? When I got there, I reset, did what I know to be true because I do it enough where it's disciplined. It's a muscle, right? It's like present where your feet are grounded. I have a song that I'll put on, Brandon Lake. It's gratitude. Go into a state. And then what I do is I just say, okay, let me breathe in God, breathe out Abby, and let me just say whatever needs to be said. And even if it's just for one person, like, let me just, even if it's a seed, even if I don't turn out to be their chiropractor at some point, even if it's a seed to acknowledge that this is here for them and that chiropractic helps to support their mental health, physical health, hormonal health, their aging, all of that. So I go into this and I just give it my all for like 10 to 12 minutes. Day 2 this morning, I'm like, wait, why don't I just hit the gym down by the police department? I can go in, it's 10 minutes. It's literally like swinging in 10 minutes, go to the gym. Like, why don't you reframe this thing that you framed as being an inconvenience to you and go back into framing it as an opportunity? Okay, fast forward 3 times of doing this later. And these men and women I am speaking to them. They are about to go into work. I am sure they're in their state of like preparation and just kind of like stone face, which I'm like, man, is this a waste of time? Am I even helping? Is this a waste of my time, their time? Did anyone even hear me? And at the end, so a friend of mine, and he is a genius, like a genius on all of things sales, all online, all CTAs. If you don't know, that means it's a call to action. Don't feel bad. I didn't know what that is. But all things framing your business and taking what you're doing and making it 10x, in the sense of like, I could have gone and done that. And if I would have just left those days without a actionable way for them to reach us, an actionable way for us to help them, my impact would have been super minimal. So my friend says to me, he says, why don't you do like where you get, okay, if you text this phone number and say BCPD, then you can give them some sort of like value add for doing that. So we did a free adjustment, which we do not do a ton of giveaways, but this was definitely one of those situations where we really wanted to provide an irresistible offer. We really wanted to provide so much value that even if you are busy, even if you do have a lot of stress, even if you have a lot going on, you're just like, okay, this is a no-brainer to take advantage of. And hopefully they were inspired and poured into and connected to. So I'm doing all of that, working really hard to pour into, inspire, just be real. And when I went into it, I'm like, I do that. That's a hack, you guys. And I don't think that you're ever going to go into a talk, go into a lunch, go into putting yourself out there without that feeling of, man, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of nervous about this. What are they going to think? What is this going to impact? The stronger you strengthen that muscle where you're like, I don't care. Like, I don't care in the best way. I'm here to speak truth and speak life into people. Whether they receive it or not doesn't matter. What they think of me personally doesn't matter. Like, what matters is that I say to you, like, your health is important. What matters is that I say to you, like, there is more to life than feeling like a zombie or being in pain. What matters is that you show up and tell the truth. And you go into a state of it's not contingent. Me telling the truth, me stepping into this is not contingent on what I think they will think of me. And this goes both ways. Like, if you have moments that you don't tell the truth, that you're like, oh, that wasn't true, or I just messed up, or like, what did I just do? Then again, you step into owning it and apologizing, because you guys, there is never, ever, ever going to be a time where you are perfect. There is never going to be a time where you're the perfect doctor, you're the perfect student, you're the perfect boss, you're the perfect partner, you're the perfect anything. We are not perfect. Thank goodness, right? Like, you just have to go in and tell them the truth. And that has always helped me with marketing, right? So looping back around, I like owning businesses. Businesses are relationships. If you want to know how to market, it's going in and telling people, not for you, but just being there to help people. Not for, oh, what am I going to get out of this? Even though, of course, that's like human. You're like, okay, is this even making an impact for anybody, right? Like, you want an outcome. You need to do everything in your, like, within your realm of possibility to make that outcome as optimal as possible. But at the end of the day, you just leave it on the table. And then you walk away and you're just like, my value, my everything is not contingent on the outcome of this. So I told the team, I'm like, you guys, I don't know if that did anything. Like, I'm not sure. And and this is why I love, love, love working alongside amazing women. Like, it can be lonely in practice. And I don't care who you are at the end of the day. Like, to be on an island for me is not the way I want to practice. So I literally tell my colleagues, I'm like, you guys, I don't even know if I made an impact. And they were all like, you know what? Even if it affects or impacts one person, that's worth it. I'm like, all right, ladies, easy for you to say as everyone was sleeping at 5 no, I'm just kidding. But like, it's what I needed to hear. And I was like, it's so true. It's so true. Okay, so today I text Dr. Victoria and I'm like, one of my team members, I'm like, hey, can you just check the work phone? And I did end each of these talks, 3 out of 5 of them, with saying, hey, and here's a hack, right? Like, if you have a talk or you do a story or you have 2 openings, don't just leave it like, hey, we've got some openings. Do a call to action. Like, hey, if you are a mom that's been ready to get into our office, or hey, if this is something that like we're going to offer you XYZ, so text BCPD or text wellness, text something to this number. Now you have a lead, you have their information, you have the ball in your court instead of waiting for them to come to you, which is a bunch of decision-making inertia. It just has a bunch of roadblocks, and not because they don't want to, but because we're human and life is busy, right? So I don't know about you, but I'm going to remove as many roadblocks as possible in my own life and in the lives of others on being consistent with health and wellness, being able to do things that are going to help them. And I said, will you follow up? I don't know if there are any text messages or not. She texted me back and she's like, so far we have 9. And I'm like, I just smiled. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's just such a God wink, because just when you think that you may, like, nobody's hearing you, just when you think that like what you're doing isn't making a difference, just when you think that, man, did I make the wrong decision? I was having a little bit of self-doubt, because not only did it infringe on my schedule, and this is not a joke, but I had hurt my back. I know I'm a chiropractor, but I did a rack pull incorrectly with bad form on Sunday. So I had hurt my back. So I just was not thriving, you guys. And I know that you know, but each time that you have things that are outside of your normal schedule and things that pull even more of you for your work, like, of course we love it, but it was also a stressor to my personal life, right? Like, I have kids, I have a partner, I have a life that it took away from, and that brings friction. So I had all these things that I'm like, is this making an impact? And boom, just when you needed to hear it, I'm like, of course it is. And of course it was. And it was post me letting go of the idea of what I wanted the outcome to be of that air quotes marketing. It was post like me being like, thinking that anyone was even receptive to it. It was post like me caring. Like, I just didn't even care. Like, in the best way. Like, I'm like, I don't care if you guys don't want to hear this. And this has been a struggle for me in the past, you guys, because I've been such a person of like, who am I to tell people what they should or shouldn't do, or just minimize my own thoughts and feelings and minimize my own opinion. And coming into this next version of myself, it's really allowed me to say like, no, like, this is true. And even though we don't sometimes want to hear it, it's usually the necessity, that's a word, right? The necessary thing. It's usually the thing, the actually highest form of love. It's actually the highest form of love is being able to tell someone a truth. And it also wraps around to, it is not cozy and cushiony and always going to work out in business. Like, if you are a business owner, just hear me when I say, sometimes I feel like we are those little clowns that you get punched in the face and then you pop back up, and punched in the face and then you pop back up, punched in the face and you pop back up. And once every like 10 times you have a win, and that win feels amazing and it fills your cup back up, and you're like, this is why we do this. And then you go right back in the ring. And I just want you to know that that feeling is normal and you wouldn't change it for the world, but it is extremely a game of being able to withstand the most stress and be able to keep getting back up. Being able to be told the word no, being able to step into a talk or step into a exam room or step into a test or step into whatever situation and be able to say like, hey, this is something that I believe in. This is something that helped me. This is something that I have found as a truth. And although maybe you aren't ready to hear it, although maybe I'm not ready to speak it, although maybe there isn't like a right time to this or a right way to say this, like, at least I'm stepping into the ring. At least I'm stepping out. At least I'm taking the courage to speak up. At least I'm jumping off the cliff to start the thing. At least I'm trying. And this is what breaks my heart is so many times we have, or I'll see people that it just seems like that life force. It just seems like that being connected with something higher, that reason to wake up, that excitement, that's just like dulled, that is missing. And being able to step out into the world and be like, these situations are going to feel really hard. A lot of the time you are going to feel like you don't know what you're doing because you haven't done it. Like, you actually don't know what you're doing. And by doing it, you will learn. And entrepreneurs, owners, business owners, we are willing to reinvest our own money, our own time, our own capital into people, into places, into things, in into building the dream, right? And the cool thing is when you take that big risk, you also, rightfully so, are the one that gets the reward when it works out the 1 out of 10 times. And if you don't give up, when you don't give up, you keep learning, you keep paying your tuition, you keep leaning into what you know your soul is calling you to do, you will make contact with that ball. You will hit it out of the park. You will have the win. You will learn. You will move forward. You will, when you least expect it, you will get 9 text messages or more saying, hey, that had an impact for me. And those are the moments that you're just like, okay, cool. I'm on the right path. Usually, if it's feeling chaotic, usually, if it's feeling like you're about to break, usually, if you're feeling pushed all the way to the edges of what you think you can withstand, usually you are on the right path. And usually you're right around the corner from your next version of you, the next version of growth. And I say this all the time, and I mean it, is if it were easy, everyone would do it. It's just the bottom line. And it gets me through it many of the days. It gets me through it when I say, if it were easy, everyone would do it. And it's almost that like one more, like, but can you do one more rep? Can you hang in there one more time? And 90% of the time, the answer is yes. And the one other time, I give myself that grace. I let myself lay on the ground and be like, let a tear roll down and say, it's too much. It's too much. And just hold space for that and allow myself to feel that, but then not allow myself to stay or sit in that. Like we're allowed to feel that. We're just not allowed to stay there. And then you get back up. And I think one of the biggest things is listening to things like this, listening to being around other people that are doing it, because they'll be able to say to you and look at you and say like, oh yeah, no, this is how that will feel, or this really worked for me, or I know that you are in the thick of it, but I promise you right on the other side of this, it's all going to come together and it's completely normal to be feeling this. So if you are looking for any amount of mentorship or collaboration or just like being able to support each other because we're doing things differently than a lot of people. And you guys know that I've always done stuff outside the box from, oh my gosh, honestly, my whole life, from cash practice, like having an all cash membership practice, to building real estate, to now building like online and podcasting. And I think the coolest thing with how I hope to show up is the fact that like nothing about what I've done is special, in the sense of there's nothing about me that is perfect. There's nothing about me that like knew what she was doing. There was nothing about what I did that would be any different from any one of you just doing the thing, just reaching the goals that you have, just jumping in. And it almost makes me like emotional, because those rock bottom moments, those rock bottom times, the times when you are questioning yourself, when you are questioning whether it's all worth it, when you are questioning like if you're even doing it right, those are always, 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 you guys, the times where if you lean in and do the hard work, you go inside, that you grow and you get stronger, and that God prepares you, molds you, and calls you. Like he called you to do this. There is nothing in your past. There is nothing that you have done. There is not a mistake that you have made that he wouldn't have put you through to bring you to this moment. And do not let anything or anyone in your life tell you that you are not enough, that you can't change it, that your past is your future, because it just is not the truth. And the biggest block that you have to that becoming a reality or not is yourself. Because as soon as you decide like that's no longer it, that is when everything changes for you. And that's like the blessing and the curse, right? Is we want to say, oh, well, it was my parents and this is what I went through and this is my whatever and this person did this to me and I don't know, I'm 37 now and I just can't, because and I have a whatever issue, like this is going on, that is going on. Those are all things that if you lean into them and use them as a reason why not, you will not. But they are all things that you can say, that made me who I am, but I get to decide who I will be. I went through that, and because of a lot of things in my life or because of decisions that I made, right? And I made the best decision with the capacity of who I was at the time and what I knew to be true at the time. But I was able to take those. And when you release looking back and having any guilt or any shame or anything like that around it, and you can look at it with curiosity and you can look at it with like no shame, or no guilt, no like, man, you made a bad decision or anything like that. You look at it with curiosity and with like love. You can look at yourself and say like, wow, like I can understand why that person made that decision at that time. And I love her and I love who she's going to be. And there's no shame or guilt. There is no making that same decision again in the future. You have to learn from it. But there's no shame and no guilt in that. And anything that you want is possible. When you lean into that, you guys, you are on the right road. So this was a little bit off topic of entrepreneurship in the sense of leaning into who we are growing, but there is no one without the other, right? Like expansion doesn't happen. And we say this in chiropractic all the time, like you aren't going to heal physically and not spiritually or emotionally. You aren't going to go start lifting and get stronger physically and not change who you are mentally. One does not happen without the other. And the same thing in your business, the same thing in your life. Your business can only expand or grow to the level of a person or leader you are. And these things that happen in your personal life, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you are able to take your own fault, your own mistakes, your own experiences, and have grace and understanding and work through and learn from them, then guess what? When your team comes to you with a mistake, with a human, like something that they did was human, when you have to have a hard conversation, when they just need you to listen, when you're scared or need something, like you are going to be able to show up so authentically in that and take it through this level of understanding because everything that I've been through has humbled me in the best way. It has shown me that things that you never thought would happen to you can happen to you. That at times, like, even when you didn't mean to, you mess up. At that you'll find yourself in life in situations that you're like, didn't see that coming. And it's cultivated this energy that, like, when my team and my people come to me, I'm like, it's okay. Like, we got this. And I'm getting better. And we'll talk more about that on this is how do we have clear communication? How do we have clear, and this loops around to the start of it, is like how we show up to our community, how we market. All of this goes hand in hand because the clearer you are on it, the more strength and wisdom and knowledge and ability to communicate and connect with yourself, your team, your community, the more your business thrives as well. So they truly, truly go hand in hand. And that is why I know that getting closer to God, doing the inner work, starting to lift, doing things like that catapulted my business forward. It just can't not. All right. I love you guys. Went a little bit longer than I intended to, but I hope this helps. I hope you do a CTA. I hope you get out there. I hope you do not even if 0 people text you back, I hope you do not let the external world harden that light that you have inside you because that is what people need to see. That's what they need to see.